Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Cancer, September 2022 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, for those of you who are stopping by for the first time, and if so, welcome. And as the subscribers know, and my love to you subscribers, there are no advertisements breaking into the content of this video, so you get to have the experience uninterrupted. Speaking of experience, I've had the great pleasure of doing a number of one-on-one clairvoyant readings for some Cancer people from different parts of the world in the course of the last month, and if you would like to have your own one-on-one clairvoyant experience with me, just check out the information that's in the description box below. But now we're going to pull 5 cards for you. Now, I don't know what this deck is called. My son and daughter were out one afternoon shopping in a flea market, and they found this. It had no box, it had no papers. It looks like it's probably pretty old, in the sense that it's probably 30 or 40 years old. I don't know what it is, and I haven't gone through taken the trouble probably to try and research as to what it is. My view is I don't really care anyway. But if you do happen to know what it is, for my own personal interest, I'd be very grateful if you could just mention it in the comment section below. Now let's draw 5 cards for you, shall we, and see what they have to say. There is the 8 of Cups. Now there's Chinese I Ching on that hexagram on that card there. And it just so happens that I know a bit about I Ching and what the hexagrams mean, so we will get hold of that in just a second. Now, I don't agree with the titles that are on the card. There is the card of Krishna, the great Lord Krishna, son of wands in the east. Beautiful depiction of the great one. You should read the Bhagavad Gita, particularly chapter 7. You can find it on the internet for free, but read chapter 7 because that is where Krishna, who is God incarnate in the form of a human, describes what his attributes, the attributes of God, are, as much as people can understand. He does it by way of analogy. I recommend it to you. It'll only take 10 minutes to read through it, but it's done. The Bhagavad Gita, and it's chapter 7 in particular, I think, is the best one there. There's White Buffalo Woman. See, interesting sort of stuff here, isn't there? There is the 10 of Wands and another I Ching that's there. Let's see what this is. Now, there are titles on this card that I don't necessarily agree with. And there is the 10 of Cups, also with an I Ching hexagram. It's going to test my abilities here, which is good, is it not? So why don't you come down and sit down here next to me? We'll have a good close look at the imagery on these cards together while I do the reading for you. Let's have a look at the White Buffalo Woman, the daughter of stones in the west. Now, White Buffalo Woman, an interesting thing is this. It's to do with the Lakota tribes, Native American Indians, which is a part of the Sioux Nation. And what happened was there was a famine, and the chief of a particular tribe of the Lakota sent two warriors out to go and find food. In the distance, they saw a beautiful woman, and one of the warriors said, "Oh, I'm going to go and approach this woman. She looks very tasty." Not in the sense of food. Now, what the other one said, "No, don't do anything to disrespect her or harm her." Anyway, the first guy went ahead and embraced her, whereupon a mist cloud enveloped both of them. And after a while, it disappeared, the cloud, and all that was left was the woman standing and a pile of bones of the warrior who had embraced her. The second warrior then took his bow and drew an arrow into it and was about to shoot her, where she said, "Stop. I am a powerful, wise woman. I am someone who has special supernatural gifts, and I'm a prophetess." And so he took her back to the tribe, and this woman then provided the rituals
and also the pipe, sometimes called the peace pipe, to the tribe of Lakota Indians. There were 7 rituals that she brought back. I won't go into them. In any event, the tribe then prospered. And this was some 19 generations ago, according to the legend, as I recall it. But here for you today, what she has come to signify is that you will be a person who is, well, first of all, I think Taurus, Gemini, and Aries are going to be important to you. But this is a period where you will be beautiful and strong, almost pregnant with life, generous, kind, and benevolent. You may hear of a birth during this period. There's a renewal, a harmony that is occurring. You will be following your will or true purpose in life. So this energy is about getting in touch with that most important aspect within you and protecting it, just as White Buffalo Woman protected the Lakota tribe. You may hear of a physical pregnancy, or there could be the birth of ideas here. It certainly, I think, represents a productive time after what has been something of a barren stretch for you. Would I be right in saying that? Something new is entering your life, and prepare yourself. So what must you do in order to be ready for something new to come into your life? Say to yourself, I am now ready for the new beauty in my life. Now we'll look next at the Lord Krishna. This picture here shows Lord Krishna with the typical blue hue to him. This blue halo that surrounds him, this is reminiscent of a peacock here, and this flute which he plays music through, that really represents the transmission of the thoughts of the divine mind into humanity. Now Krishna, of course, is a very revered god generally within Hinduism, and there is a particularly beautiful book called the Bhagavad Gita, B-H-A-G-A-V-A-D, one word, Gita, G-I-T-A, or just search for the Gita. It's free, it's on the internet. And look at chapter 7. Chapter 7 has a beautiful description of Krishna. Krishna, incidentally, was God becoming incarnate in human form, a traditional motif in religious history. The Jesus figure, of course, comes to mind, as do very many others, such as Dionysus, Mithra, Hercules even, in some respects. This is, first of all, I've got to say there's a lot of Cancer around here, so this does apply to you, and I think Leo may also be important to you here. This is a very dynamic energy here with a strong Leo influence to it. With the heart of a lion, you'll stand for honesty and integrity and what you believe in and what you believe to be for the common good. There's a strong sense of morality to this character here. Now, this can also represent a turning point when things have been going badly. You have to use your energy, enthusiasm, and drive to move on to better things, and now is the time to do it. You must wear the same confidence and serenity as the Lord Krishna does. And this reminds you to, because he's a very playful character, Krishna, as people will know if they understand the theology of Krishna. It reminds you to reintegrate in life and to take on any challenges that come your way. Have a lust for life, and you'll be swift and strong, possibly impulsive, but generous and with a sense of humor. This energy is saying to you now that you have all that you need. Don't let yourself be contained. Don't let yourself be slowed down. Life is prepared to receive you. Trust your boundless creative potential. And ask yourself, what challenges are present now in your life? Spread your arms wide and breathe deeply into your heart and say this to yourself: I love life, and life loves me. Now let's have a look on the same horizontal line at this Eight of Cups. Let's have a look at this. Oh, you've got a hexagram there. We'll see that in just a second. Let's have a look at this hexagram. Now, I don't know why people let me look at the image first and see what we can see of it. The cups are in confusion, really, reflecting chaos. But there are lines of light and flowing water which give hope of a hidden joy that cannot be destroyed. Now, I don't agree with titles because they are generally wrong. Now, you can see a title here on this card. This card is not about failure at all. Nothing of the sort. It's wrong to put titles on cards because they mean different things wherever they're placed and the astrological influences over them. But let me say something about failure in any event, seeing as we're here. Do you know that the acceptance of our failures is in reality the acceptance of our Creator's perfection? One of our biggest mistakes is to ignore what happens within us. There is no shame in letting your Creator know that you're falling and that you need Him to pick you up. The fall of the ego becomes the rise of the soul. Your soul wants to meet you. It wants to breathe. It wants to speak. It wants to see with the clarity of the eyes of your heart. These eyes of the heart are the eyes bestowed on you directly by your Creator. I might just bash that there. To witness Him and to witness His pleasure. The friends of the divine are not in search of their own eyes. They are in search of His eyes. Now, what is actually important on this card is not that stupid title, which this has got nothing to do with, but one of the energies associated here is that energy which is depicted by this hexagram. Hex means 6, and these lines, the full line is yang, male principle. The broken lines are yin, female principle. And it's called a hexagram because it's 6. It's a row of 6 lines. Now, often they can be read in couplets, 2 lines or 3 lines put together, but I'm reading this as 6 put together. And these 6 together here, they actually are what the Chinese called sun, which roughly means decrease. But it's calling on you to evaluate things, I would say. For everything you have missed, you have gained something else. And for everything you gain, you lose something else. There is a period, a flowering, followed by a decline as a general rule. You see that in nature, don't you? Although what appears to be turning back is really turning inward as life continues to move forward. Decrease is the only way to increase because what is full cannot be filled anew. The underlying cause of influence of the turning of fate reveals a time focus on the world around us. However, that hidden influence shows this to be a time for return, for gestating, that is growing, planning, or turning inward. Trees are made stronger through pruning, where overwatering a plant would kill it. Decrease can still be a principle of growth even when the message is to do less or remove. Now, you may need to cut back on one area of your life in order to direct more energy towards another. The message of decrease suggests finding strength by removing those things which are superfluous, I think. Now, sun is the image of offering something freely in a in some sort of a way. Amazing benevolence is how you let go to discover what is rightfully yours. Now, you may need to give up something you feel as important as a commitment to conscientious growth with another. Businesses often use a time of decrease to expand. If sales are down, distribution channels can become an opportunity to market new products. Those who understand the cycles know that increase will follow decrease and will use the time to fortify the foundation or to examine what is working and what is not. Now, whatever you may lose during a period of decrease, that is going to pave the way for something else. Nature shows you that decrease is not a negative event. It is simply how it continues in its forward movement, even when it appears to be moving backwards. Now, what is the card that is sitting underneath that? It's this. Oh, you've got a couple of tens here. These are really good. Now, see, here's a title which talks about oppression, and this is a title which talks about success. The titles themselves are misleading, so don't get caught up in them, because as I say, what is important is the energy that I feel from the card, not from any titles or script that may be written on the card. Now, what a very interesting picture is this. The background shows a bat or a sort of a flying mouse swooping down on frightened cats. Certainly a reversal of power, isn't it? Now, hope, I think, is shown by the feathers on the bat's wings, indicating that the bat may transform into a bird, which is a symbol of spirituality. Oppression, if I'm looking at that title, is in fact giving way to wisdom. Now, just looking at this hexagram up here, this hexagram, the Chinese call it Ku Mai. How might I best talk about that? As a maiden, as a young woman who is going to be married, is probably the best way to translate it. Kuo Mai, or the marrying maiden, is about subordinating the will or the need to accept what cannot be changed. Now, you may find yourself, now that before I push along with these, remember that there is a tremendous card coming after it. So everything is good in tarot. At least I always see the good in every card that's here. You may find yourself in a suspended situation because of changes that someone else is going through, or because of events that are beyond your control. At the same time, a sudden turn of events can place you in a very unfamiliar environment where you have no experience to draw upon. You can't do much about the situation other than wait to see how events unfold. Now, it is not uncommon to receive this energy, and particularly this hexagram, when you are seeking partnership with someone who is currently unavailable. As the second wife, or concubine, to put it in its Chinese historical setting, you may be the other woman or the other man. The hidden influence underneath here underscores a time of waiting for some type of change or completion to sort itself out. There is no reason to think that you cannot achieve the object of your desire. However, the act of subordination is necessary, and that is not an easy thing for most people. There needs to be practical steps taken to achieve desire. Now, in this Kuo Mai, what I call the marrying maiden, the situation can appear or change suddenly, and you are forced to adapt to uncertainty as best you can. Now, the lines in this hexagram, I suppose, metaphorically, refer to the changes a woman faces when she marries and goes into a new home and adopts, in the Chinese setting, a new family. It is not her ancestral home, and she will not be immediately accepted. And the Chinese folks in the audience will understand what I mean by that. But proper behavior is about adapting to conventionally accepted standards of behavior. This means that although the situation may not be what you had hoped for, you will learn a lot about your patterns of thought, your defenses, and even the wisdom that comes from allowing life to lead you into the unfamiliar. Now, since I call it the marrying maiden, success comes after a period of testing. Often, and again, Chinese history, the second wife or concubine actually gives birth to the heir and rises to become the first wife. Just because you are wandering on a road you have never travelled before, don't be off-put. Rather than push forward willfully with demands, acquiesce and allow the situation to unfold. I think you know what I mean. Oh, well, I suppose there is a sense of oppression there, isn't there, if you're the other woman or the other man, while you bide your time. Now, that takes us finally, I think, to this, doesn't it? Which is the Ten of Cups. Well, what's going on here? Well, I think what we can say is that stones push up from the surging sea. An ancient rock has a dark hole at the centre, signifying mystery. The black dirt, however, is fertile. And this fertile earth is something that enables the pushing up of plant life, of growth, of things, of new things, great emotional happiness here. Now, this is reflected by this hexagram here. See, look, it's interesting, isn't it? There's two masculine yang lines, and the rest of them are all yin, are all feminine energy, sort of around there. Now, this is called sheng. Sheng is, I'd say, pushing up. And so it is time for you to move up, to ascend, is what I am getting here. Sheng, that energy which is encapsulated in that hexagram, describes a situation requiring an extended amount of sustained effort and results that may not be readily visible. It's like a small tree taking years before it ever provides shade. And at the same time, it is focused on growth, so unless the situation is one of growth, it cannot move upward. It can also be a message about patience and authentic interaction. Now, generally, events happen so fast that we lose touch with the flow of what we are doing. We can become part of routines that have nothing to do with fulfillment. Situations unfold that are the result of past actions that are forgotten. Now, like the patience that would be required to observe the growth of a tree, you need to get back to the moment in conscious awareness of what you are doing and why. And therefore, this concept of pushing up can be a message to slow down and become mindful. Now, the hidden influence of this card's hexagrams in here as well is that subordination brings the will into the right path. If we nourish, or if you nourish, an authentic approach to each day, keeping in mind your intention while opening to the nurturing events that unfold to make you stronger, you can create a sense of fulfilling opportunities that leads to success. Now, if you are neglectful or caught up in routines, nothing can flourish. the underlying cause of innocence seeks a perspective without intention. But now you are asked to give form to intention and to provide it with the conscious care over time that will allow you to realize your ambition. This energy, this shung energy, pushing upward energy, focuses on purposeful action and asks that you examine the situation to see if real growth is occurring. Pushing upward can also be a message about the need to leave a deteriorating situation if it is no longer serving your growth. The emphasis should be on healthy growth and not ignoring deterioration. Could also be a promotion or some other opportunity to expand outwardly. I see that being strongly indicated by this energy here, particularly where it's placed under Krishna and with the holy white buffalo woman. Good job, you. That's the way it is for this month.
I have to tell you that I thought that was a really interesting reading for you then. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did providing it to you. This is going to be a good month for you. I can see it here, and that's what it says for you now, so enjoy yourself. And of course, I'll then see you next month. And remember this though, until the next time I see you, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.